In most ways, it's like any golf course anywhere. With tees and greens, fairways and bunkers, hazards and holes. It's a man-made thing, surrounded by trees, homes and highways. It is a place where you play the game. It's a place of possibilities. Folks of all sorts come and go, and shots get hit in all shapes and all directions. But what this course has that's unique is its story. A story that might just change what you think about golf. A little bit anyway. Along with a cast of characters you might not get to meet otherwise. Folks that have been playing this game since they were kids. Any way they could, and then every chance they could, for a lot of different reasons. Our story is about how this place, built for the public, was finally open to all the public. And how it became the venue for an extraordinary competition. A tournament that would help redefine golf. What happened here, and what continues to happen here every day, is what makes this place important. A place that's simply called Muni.
A lot of times I don't even feel like moving, but I just go ahead anyway because the doctor was telling me as long as I can move. So I just try to keep moving. It's healthy, I think, to have some place to go and able to come out and have fun, joke with each other and kid and talk to people.
And I got into golf and really started getting just swamped with failure and mistakes and frustration. I said, this is my game. This is my game.
Exercise, get with their buddies, have fun, Even the preachers get out there and they cuss every now and then.
Obsession is the word, and it's pure insanity.
It's something different every time you swing the club.
I believe we all play the game for the same thing, and we have for 400 years. That emotional feeling of impact, that's the moment that we play for.
I play every day that I can get up out of the bed.
Mental therapy, physical therapy, and sport. But however, it's the challenge is what I love about playing golf. It's the challenge. It's the pure challenge.
Because nothing beats you up like golf. Just absolutely hammers you on days, but then the next day, it may kiss you on the cheek. and leave you just totally in love all over again?
I think it helps my mental outlook, just generally, you know.
I'll just put Christ first, family second, and then golf.
When everything cut and dried, said and done, the swing is the thing.
That's the greatest part about golf, is that it's an individual effort. It's you, the golf ball, and the golf course. No one can influence that. No one. You're totally in control, and for people or a people who had never been in control of anything, I think that was a real appeal of the game of golf.
Hey, now you talking about the $64 question, that is it. But the way I look at it is just like I say, if it wasn't for the swing, if I hadn't fallen in love with the swing, I don't think I'd be bothered to play it, really. It's the beginning and the end of golf. Upper body, lower body. It's got to move together. It's just like music. Harmony. Everybody knows the Muni. Just about everybody in West North Carolina that learned to play golf, this is where they learned to play it, including me. It's a good track. You got the front nine, which is sort of benign. You got the back nine, which you got to have the A game to even be anywhere near scoring.
It's a great public course because it's a Donald Ross layout. The front side's pretty flat, but the back side's got all these rolling hills with the oak trees. And it's really a nice place to play. Some of these guys have been playing here a long time. They're out there right now, probably teeing off.
And Muni is middle class. The original intent behind it is still there. People can tee up a second ball and not worry about a ranger yelling at them, or you can bring your kid out and play. It's just an everyman's golf course, and that really appeals to me.
Muni golfers don't have to get up in the morning and wonder, what kind of golf clothes am I going to wear today? All that matters is what happens at the moment of impact.
What I love about the Muni golf courses is, like today, I came out here, I played 18 this morning, I'm about to play another 18. I think the municipal golf courses are ways for all walks of life to be able to play golf and not have a membership or anything like that to play. So I think it's a vital part of growing the game.
Been called a dog fight. It's known as the gang.
I started over here in 1980 when I met some guys that told me that they had a tournament going Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And everybody put up a little money and play for them purse. So I said, I guess I'll come over and try it myself. So I've been here for probably 30 years now, playing in the game.
Back here, I'm on parole.
Well, the whole lot's on parole, from one thing to another. If you got a thin skin, if you're thin-skinned and you can't take it, wrong place.
I think Asheville is one of the best places where you see camaraderie with the white and the black playing together in a men's association. We have a great men's association.
Like it is today, on most mornings at Muni, in the 1920s, golf had captured the interest and imaginations of many. And in this booming city of Asheville, North Carolina, public parks were being built for the residents and tourists, including a public golf course. It was to be one of the finest courses in the country, according to the designer. But it would not be so difficult for the average golfer to despair. And it was said that at 50 cents a round, the course would soon pay for itself.
You know, it's the first municipal golf course in North or South Carolina with the intent of getting the golf to the common man.
The course designer would become a legend, and his name was Donald Ross. He was a Scotsman. He had come to America with $2 in his pocket, quickly establishing himself first as a player and then as the foremost builder of golf courses. The farmland along the Shenandoah River soon became the Asheville Municipal Golf Course, which opened in 1927. While Ross built both private and public courses, he was on record saying, "There's no good reason why the label of rich man's game should be hung on golf."
There's a need. You got to have this. Not everyone can afford to play the upscale country clubs.
Oh, yeah, it's a working man's golf course. This is that to them here that can't play there, if that makes sense to you.
This golf course offers me the same thrill of playing that I can get anywhere. It offers me the same challenge that golf always offers you. And it offers me a much wider spectrum of personalities.
To me, Muni is very historical because that was where the blacks first started playing.
Lights, cameras, action.
You said the name? Cortez L. Baxter.
My name is Dwight Ronald Bryson.
Claude H. Young, Jr. That's my full name.
Fred Turman, Turman.
Matthew Bacote, born in Asheville, North Carolina.
This is home. Asheville, North Carolina is my home.
I was born September the 27th, 1934 in West Asheville at 43 Bryant Street.
5 grandchildren, about that many great-grands. And I've just been working here at the golf course for about 40 years.
I've been around golf ever since maybe I was 9, 10 years old, caddying.
2 fellow friends of mine was talking about caddying at Biltmore Forest, and the money that they made, $3 and $4 back in '45, that was a lot of money. And I went to the golf course with them, and the first day there, I made $3, man, and I thought I was rich. So that's what started me to caddying, you know.
Big bucks.
The guys who were caddying here at the Muni and the other clubs in the 1940s and 50s were carrying on a tradition that went back a few generations. Golf had come to Asheville and many places in the South during the later part of the 19th century. And photographs through the decades show the close relationship African Americans had working at the clubs, often carrying the clubs. It was money, yes, but it was, as you might say, a mixed bag.
Well, you had some good guys, and you had some that, had nothing to do with you or whatever.
Oh, man, you got jerks in everywhere you go. I don't care what you do. But try not to work for them or caddy for them. Sometimes you had to, and sometimes you didn't.
Back then, someone would call you a nigger. Someone would call you boy. You never was, I don't care how old a caddy was, he never was a man. He was always a boy.
Every once in a while, you would hear some racial slurs and so forth, but we didn't pay it any attention.
But it introduced them to the game that would change their lives. Learning it and playing it any way they could.
But we learned our swings from the guys that we caddied from.
The takeaway, how they set up to the ball, and all of that, we got that from them.
And if you found a 5-iron, 4-iron, that was the club you mastered and you played with it.
We could drive, chip, putt with that same club.
I saved up my money that summer, and I bought me a set of Northwestern golf clubs. That was the first set of golf clubs I had. So after that, I was a pro then, I thought, yeah.
We had made our own golf course on the school ground.
We had our golf course in the housing projects. We made our own course. We had dirt. You take a hole, put a hole, and put a can in it.
Other than that, we'd have to sneak on the country club course, under cover of darkness and play 4 or 5 holes before we got run off, and you couldn't even do that at Biltmore Forest, because in Biltmore Forest, if you were a person of color, you better be out of Dodge when the sun went down.
Y'all make the second course, and they're on the tee right down there now. Just go right down the hill, you'll see them. The starter, I get everybody lined up. Like today, it wasn't no sweat, but some days it's hectic, you know what I mean? You got folks impatient. If you can't drive, turn your license in. It's just something that I like to do. In fact, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have this to fall back on. And I enjoy it thoroughly. I mean, it's not work to me.
He's someone who is totally in love with the game of golf. You want to see an old-timer who eats it, lives it, breathes it? That's Bex.
I never thought it'd go this far. I never thought I'd get this deep in it, but I get deeper and deeper.
I've been charged with Cortez stating that I'm the one that got him hooked.
A friend of mine, he brought a 7-iron to work one night. He wasn't a golfer, wasn't none of us. I had a crew out there, 5, cleanup crew. We started pitching around with that club, but they had horseshoe boxes. I don't know what the distance horseshoe box, but anyway, we chipped with that 7-iron. And one day, one of the guys said, let's go to the golf course. I said, well, I don't have clubs. Did none of it. The only thing we had between us was that 7-iron. And we came out here and we just knocked it around. I was living at 111 Bland Street. I shot 111 that day. That's the reason I remember it so vividly. That was pure. If I wouldn't learn it, I'd turn it loose, but I learn something every time I pick up a club. I tell folks that and they look at me like you crazy, but I do. There's so much to learn. It's a big, big game.
Favorite time of year to play? What's your favorite?
January through December.
Billy was a stud, like larger than life. They called him Blackjack, the Blackjack Nicholas. Big man, could hit the ball a mile, had great short game. He was friendly when he knew you. But if he didn't know you, he could be kind of stern, and that's how we kind of looked up to Billy. Although he wasn't that much older than we were, he was like an elder statesman because he had so much experience. He was a great player, and he kind of took over black golf in this area, to be honest with you.
Like 3 was the garden height.
I played a lot with Billy, and Billy could hit it. Billy could hold his own with it. He and I would play, and we'd have a lot of fun together. Billy's like me. He's getting a little old now, and he can't get around like he used to, but he's still Billy Garden height.
Glad to see him out here. This has been his life. This has been his life, golf. I'm glad to see him come back to playing after he had that leg taken off. You think about that. If he'd been in golf all his life, he couldn't do that, you don't know. You know that? You don't know.
Really gets along good on that leg, don't it? Sure does. I admire his spunk. He's holding his own.
Something, it's hard to explain, that's how things were. Like when I was in school, we didn't have any book to read about our black history. Well, my mom, she always told me to, don't be afraid to do what you got to do, because we'd be walking through town a lot of times, and people used to step off the sidewalk to let white folk by, and she'd tell me to stay on there, so I just grew up that way. Those stores had two fountains. They had one white and one colored, Cellar, Citizen, Roebuck, and all those places that we couldn't, we wasn't supposed to drink out of the white fountain. And when we got to high school, a lot of us used to say, we don't want no colored water today, we want white water. We go over there and get run out the store or whatever.
That's more like it.
Muni is a blessing. Muni is a prize for us. That doesn't mean now that there has been some contentiousness along the way.
Most blacks couldn't play out here until Mondays. We couldn't play, but I could sneak on the back nine.
When I first saw it, they had what they call Caddies Day, which was Monday. So I started hanging around the clubhouse, picking up balls and washing down the porch. And at the age of 13, I started playing pretty good, and they would take me around and they would gamble, and if we won money, I'd get a little bit. So that's the way I really got started. People would drive by the golf course and they'd holler at you and throw stuff out the car at you or whatnot. Back when they did change, in 1954, when they made the ruling that they had to integrate public parks, a fellow named Boyce Layton and myself went to the golf course on Sunday. I had a lot of nerve because I wasn't scared. And the next day in the papers had Negroes showed the golf course and people in Beverly Hills talking about selling their houses and whatnot. And it went on like that for a few days. Then the golf clubhouse got burnt down, so they figured that someone set the clubhouse on fire because of this. But at that time, a lot of black folks were just afraid to do things because things would happen to them sometime.
Even before the fire, it was clear that many in Asheville opposed desegregation at Muni. The city entertained offers to sell the course to a private group in order to skirt the desegregation issue. But Billy and others protested at the city council meeting, and the sale was stopped.
The lawyer asked me to make a little speech, and I made a speech that, I would like to be a pro one day, and please don't sell the golf course and whatnot. The councilman laughed at us and said, y'all boys going back home. We ain't gonna sell that golf course, And here we are with a lawyer and another elderly man, they call them boys. So things like that, stick with you all your life,
The city rebuilt the clubhouse without the second floor. But over the next few years, integrated play increased, and Asheville Muni became the first municipally owned public course in the South to embrace full desegregation.
But after we got started, man, they started flooding us.
But this was freedom. This gave us a place to play. Charlie Sifford wrote a book titled Just Let Me Play. And all African Americans wanted to do was play the game, just like anybody else. Try as we might to kick down those doors, knock them down, we couldn't do it. For years and years and years, we still were invisible people when it came to the game of golf as far as mainstream golfers were concerned. And you always felt a little bit uncomfortable when you'd come to a golf course. Even though this was a public golf course, you knew that there was a little bit of an attitude about you being there. But we didn't care. We didn't care as long as you didn't put your hands on us and as long as you didn't openly confront us with any kind of name calling. We were okay. We knew that we might have to wait till these guys teed off before we could tee off.
I just wanted to play the game. It wasn't to prove nothing, but once I started playing, I wanted to prove something that I could play.
Did you?
I did.
And once you got the golf bug, once it bit you, like it bit me and most all these other old guys that you see around here, they've been in love with golf for 70 years. You wanted to express yourself in the game, and to see just how good you could be, you had to play a regulation course, and it wasn't in the greatest condition, but it was our Augusta National, believe it.
I wanted to be a teaching pro. That was what I wanted. Then I got drafted. That ended that. So, I went to Vietnam, and that ended that.
After Billy and the other African Americans flooded out to Muni and played any day they wanted, in 1959, a group of players organized the Skyview Golf Association and Tournament. Its hope was to promote golf in the black community and help players to become professional. The first Skyview Golf Tournament was held in 1960, and it soon became one of the tournaments on the African American golf circuit.
If I go places now, and run into some of the older guys, they still talk about, the 60s and 70s Skyview Golf Tournament. And those were the days.
Man, this was a big thing. Big, big. Skyview was the biggest thing in Western North Carolina.
Big major event.
Well, the best year, we had 254 golfers.
People from north, south, east, west. They're coming in Cadillacs, they're coming in Buick, Fords, even taxi cabs.
It's got a long, colorful history.
Yeah, I've seen this place just covered up with people. You couldn't get a parking place anywhere around here.
I remember back in the day when you would have crowds of people actually lined up on the front side and on the back side.
Many of the golfers who became PGA players, they played here every year.
And these guys, they all played on what you call the chitlin circuit. And they played in their tournaments all around,
We had some tremendous golfers come through here.
You name it, they played here. Lee Elder, Charlie Owens, Chuck Thorpe, Jim Thorpe, Jim Dent, James Black, Nate Starks, Bobby Strobel. All the greats played here in this tournament. If you were a black golfer and you were worth your salt, you played in the Skyview.
Oh man, I know it was beautiful, to see. At that time, I'll say in 1963, 64, that many black folks mixed with a few white folks.
And these guys were good. They'd come on this golf course and shoot 63, 64, 65.
The first time I remember is this guy was on the pro tee, the black guy, and his name was Chuck Thorpe. And Chuck was getting ready to hit the ball on the first tee, and he was using a 3-wood off the ground and knocked it on the green. And I thought, holy cow, that man can play some golf. And guess what? He was tough. I'll never forget him. Heck of a golfer.
There weren't many tournaments that blacks could play in.
Well, it never happened before like this. They had tournaments, but usually it was a tournament that was sponsored by white folks in Miami or California, somewhere like that. But Asheville, North Carolina.
It was good for the community. Most of the adult blacks knew the Skyview was coming to town. It's like the parade. Christmas parade. Yeah. Skyview's in town, Skyview.
Skyview really was jumping at one time. I mean, we had a party on Thursday night, and we'd have 1,000 people at the dance.
Banquet. They'd call your name on the speaker. And winner first place, such.
Beautiful feeling that it created within me, and I'm sure many other Negroes. It had an indelible mark.
I really wish that African Americans knew about the history of what took place as their participation increased in golf. And you have quite a few golfers now who have no idea of back in the day when we had to go live in the private homes because we weren't allowed to live in the motels and hotels in Asheville because of the Jim Crow laws. And that evolved, and how, I can tell you stories that you probably wouldn't believe, but a lot of the guys, I know of one guy, Bobby Strobel, he would travel with a frying pan in his golf bag because, we weren't allowed to eat in certain restaurants and whatnot, and you just did the best you could with what you had. But the stories are plentiful.
Well, this was one of the only places we could play, back in the day. Got a lot of history, mostly all the black pros that played the tour used to play the Skyview, Back then, it was more African Americans on the PGA Tour back in the 60s and 70s than it is now, because they had these type tournaments where you could play every week. So this was like a springboard to trying to get to the PGA Tour. But now, you don't have either you play the PGA Tour or play the web.com or you go find a job.
It was a place for them to play competitively and earn a little bit of money and plus get their hustle on, which they a lot of times made more money hustling than they did from the golf tournament purse itself.
Chuck Thorpe, quite a character. Part of the Thorpe golfing family. He won this Skyview 5 or 6 times. The course used to be just burnt out in the summertime. There's a par 5 on the back, 17th hole. He's one shot ahead with 2 to play. He hits a 3-wood into the green. And there's 100 people around watching because he's the leader. The ball rolls through the green, goes out of bounds. Nobody tells him. I don't think a lot of people like Chuck. So he walks all the way up there and he's like, "Where's my ball?" They said it went out of bounds. So, he's got to go back and hit 4 from the middle of the fairway. I'm following him as a golf journalist, and he turns around and he used every imaginable cuss word. He made up new creations that I had never heard before. The entire way back, he goes down, he slams his ball down, he rifles a 3-wood to about 10 feet, walks up there, makes his putt, and then he stands and he says, "All of you, I can't say the rest of it, can go straight to hell," and walked off and won the golf tournament. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And he was still cussing. He didn't even want to talk about winning the tournament and $2,500. He talked about, all those people on 17 that wouldn't tell him his ball went out of bounds.
It was one year I caddied for Billy Gardenhite at the golf tournament. Well, I know I'm a good caddy. At that time, I had a few miles under my feet.
Dwight used to caddy for me. And in one of the pro tournaments, they had a playoff.
Sudden death. We played 1, 2, and so we get to 3.
And on 3, I knocked it up about like that for a birdie.
Well, in a sudden death, I didn't know the rules that you had to putt everything out. Well, he told Billy, "Good shot." Well, I took it as if he said, "It was good."
And he threw my ball back, I lost the match. He said he laughs about that now. I lost the match because he threw my ball back.
I walked from number 3 green to the clubhouse and I cried like a baby. I made the man lose.
No, he started crying and going on. I said, "He needs to cry, son." I said.
They came to town and it was rollicking. And all these guys were like that. They were characters, and you don't see that much anymore. And I miss that. I miss that part of the Skyview. But it was fun back in the day.
60 years later, the Skyview tradition continues every July, with Billy still running the tournament from the registration table.
I left here in 1993, so I've been gone 25 years.
And a kid that grew up in Muni comes back to stay connected to his roots in golf.
About 10 over right now. That's all right.
Is that right?
That's all right. They're family. Plain and simple. Most of these older guys helped raise me.
Well, I'm feeling good. Yeah, I always feel good.
Still shipping? Got that game going on?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I started a little old book, What I Learned About Golf After 90. How you doing?
You know, a lot of my friends are gone now, and that's kind of sad when I think about it. But the ones who are still here, and the ones that I see when I come here, and I come every year, I try to come every year just to say hello, and, you know, like I said, it's family.
I remember when you were a teenager, so I'm right up there with him. I remember you were a little baby.
It just warms my heart just to see them and see them still above the divot, as I say, and still loving this game.
Richard P., what's happening, bro? How's everything? Good seeing you, man. I guess I've been coming out here for 40-some years, and it's almost like a homecoming because as soon as you see each other, you want to hug each other. You want to greet each other with some real meaning and strength of all of the years that goes by, and that's really what's important.
The tournament continues to bring people together.
Ready to get out here, see what I can do this morning.
With folks like brothers Fred and Leroy Turner making the trip from Chicago every year to compete on the course they grew up on.
I'm one of these guys. I don't care how well I know you. When I tee it up, my whole attitude changes because I'm a winner. And I believe that I can beat the average guy out there.
They're all nervous. They're out here today playing a golf tournament, and it changes everything. The nerves on the edge.
Hey guys, glad to see everybody again this year. As usual for the Skyview. The field is a little light this year, but next year it'll be full. I guarantee you that. I promise you that.
I would like to pay homage to the people whose shoulders we stand on today. Members of the Skyview Golf Association.
I can't say enough about Billy. He's a pioneer. And he's the one that engineered the Skyview, and he's really pushed it hard. And it makes him feel good whenever he is able to see so many people coming out for it. This is Billy Gardenhite, the director of the Skyview Golf Association. He's also my father, but not because he's my father. This guy has had some health concerns, but he's persevered them. He's back. He's been directing this thing since the beginning. But if you would give him a round of applause.
I don't think there could have been a better fellow to do it than Billy Gardenhite. He did it right. And all the people in here just looked up to Billy, and they still do.
So Billy has become a giant figure in golf. He is an institution.
You see all of these old people out here. It's a bygone era. We're still holding on, we're still playing, we're still enjoying the game, but we just didn't transfer our love of the game to our kids.
Especially in the Skyview, I don't see young African-American golfers. I haven't for years. That's unfortunate, and I hope that trend will change.
A golf tournament that has meant this much, which has that much history, can't just go away. And the way for its legacy to live on is through youth.
As another Skyview wraps up, Greg Parker won his 7th professional title, edging out two-time winner and PGA hopeful Noah Ratner by a few strokes. Jesse Allen made the trip from Mississippi and made a strong showing. And a few weeks before the tournament, the White Bryson suffered a stroke. But most days, he's still here at the course, talking to the gang, hoping to swing a club again.
Yeah.
I feel like crap. I don't like being ill, but you know what? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
And Billy, he soldiers on, playing every day he can, enjoying every round he can.
Well, I love it. I'm just glad I'm able to come out and play. There's some people, when they have amputations and things like that, they just give up. I'm not giving up. I says I'm gonna keep going till good master come after me.
I enjoy seeing this because I see the people are coming together, and I really feel that this is the way it should be all the time.
How are we going to get to know each other unless we get to know each other? You know what I mean? And the golf course is a perfect place to meet people who may not have anything in common except trying to play this game.
Just being able to congregate with people of my race and white race, and Indian or Mexican or whatever, and I could play golf with them and not worry about somebody telling me I can't play. So that's why I love golf.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a melting pot. It really is, whether it's because it was the first golf course around here to integrate and to be more comfortable doing it. And I think the Skyview played a big role in that because people got comfortable.
But race relations, it has a lot to do with you.
Yeah, and it got better, you know. I can't say it didn't get better. It got better. Still, you know, you look at some of the things that's happening nowadays, it's really a step back.
I've never held anything against anybody, white, black, blue, or green, because that's not my nature.
My heart tells me that, hey, don't make no difference to me what color you are. It's got to do what's inside. How do you feel about what's going on? How do you make it? How do you want it to be?
I just enjoy life. I enjoy it. My wife told me one day, said, honey, you're gonna die on the golf course. I said, I'd die happy. Well, my day is ending.
So what happens now?
Go pick up my balls and write down what I've learned. And then seeing I come back tomorrow and repeat it. That's the test. I'll either come back tomorrow and be just where I was when I came out here today. It's kind of hard to change it.
Why we keep trying?
That's the only way you can get there.